What's going on, everybody? Billy here. So as many of you know, we have just recently returned from our elk hunt and mule deer hunt out to Colorado. And so during this trip, we recorded a handful of podcasts. I think we got 5 total that we did during the trip. So what we're planning to do is release probably, planning on one a week, but there's a couple shorter ones. So probably sprinkle a couple in maybe later at the end of each week here, just so we can get them in, especially before deer season starts and we start having some more activity going on that we would like to report on pretty currently as the season progresses with whitetails here in upstate New York. So this will be the first of probably 5 podcasts, and we might do a follow-up with the group that went out there. Hopefully we can get the 5 of us all together. We didn't really have the opportunity to everybody sit down and really recap the hunt. But I think it's also kind of cool to sit back and let a few weeks go by and let everybody digest the hunt and get back together. Might be able to reflect on it a little bit differently than right in the moment after spending about 10 days together out in the mountains and on the travel there and back. So hope you enjoy these. The first one is going to be Danny, myself, and Brian. We on our trip out there, so we recorded this while we were driving. I think we were somewhere in the middle of Nebraska on Friday morning, so we were starting to get revved up and a little over halfway there. So hope you enjoy. This one, unlike the others, has got a little bit of foul language, so we were a little bit wound up and using some colorful language. So hope that doesn't bother you. If it does, this might not be the one to listen to, but nothing overly absurd. Just got a couple of those beautiful 4-letter F words in there. But so sorry, Mom, but I still think you'll enjoy. It's just boys being boys. So hope y'all enjoy and follow along as we will be continuing to post these as the weeks come, just so everybody can kind of experience what the ups and downs of a Western hunt, or any hunt for that matter, brings to the table. So hope you enjoy. Thanks for listening. All right.
Then you aborted all of them and went and took a shit.
Yeah. Did one of you guys walk in there and start saying something? Was that you? It wasn't either one of you, was it? Somebody walked in the bathroom and went, that was you? Oh, that's funny.
I could see your fucking Crocs the first time.
I was tapping my toe. You didn't get the memo? What the hell?
Morse code.
Mine was not good enough, I'll tell you that much.
No?
No.
Alright.
Not good. We'll get over it.
Alright.
Let's power through.
Let's get this thing rolling.
Alright.
Alright, good morning, everybody. I am sitting here in the heavy Chevy. We're headed westbound somewhere near Lincoln, Nebraska.
Hammers down.
I'm with Danny, and I'm with Brian, otherwise known as Trigger. And the 3 of us are on our way to Colorado, making our journey out there. So we're having some conversations that we wanted to put a hold on so we could get into chatting about some of the stuff that we enjoyed the last trip, some of the highlights, and also some of the lowlights. And we're also discovering that there's some things that I might do that frustrate the boys a little bit, but there's some things that they do too, so they're not innocent either. But so this first thing we want to talk about was, well, I guess first off, how's the trip going?
Smooth right now, other than our little incident last night.
What was that incident you're speaking of, Danny?
Got some time to make up here. Billy added about a half hour to our estimated time of arrival last night.
That's a bit of a stretch. Half hour is a bit of a stretch.
I took a half hour off and Billy added 40 minutes.
Billy gets a little too excited sometimes, and
we stopped.
Gets things going a little too early.
We stopped, and I literally woke up. I filled up the truck with gas, got in the driver's seat, pulled out. Danny was giving me shit because I was taking too long to pull out of the gas station. So I get out of the gas station, literally get onto the highway, and I'm assuming it's still 70 because those guys were hammering down at like 80. And so I'm assuming it's 70, so I go right straight up I think I look down and I'm at 80, and I look up and I see a cop car, and as soon as he seen us coming, he threw his driving lights on and gave us a little Officer Rod Farva for a few minutes and followed us closely, but ended up turning his lights on was a very nice gentleman.
Uncle Kurt.
Uncle Kurt. He told us his name was Uncle Kurt and congratulated us for getting to meet him last night. So, anywho, he was happy and wished us luck and said he wasn't going to hold us up any longer to go get after it. So, he let us go. So, you guys can dwell on that all you want, but that's a memory that we won't forget.
Type 2.
Type 2.
Fun.
Yeah. Really didn't hurt much other than that extra 20, 30 minutes. All right, so other than that, trip's going great. So we were let's jump into chatting about some of the things the last trip. So the three of us came out here with the same group of 5. So you got Danny, myself, Brian, Brian's dad Bob, and Sean, otherwise known as Tard. The 5 of us came out here in, it was 2017 for a mule deer hunt. We're going roughly the same area, but kind of the same travel plans this time as what we did before, and everything's going pretty well here. What river is that? Is that the Platte?
Oh, that's cool though.
That is cool. It looks cool. So we had, that was our first adventure last time, the 3 of us together really going out of state, and we had a lot of maybe some things we learned, some things that we had a great time with, some things that were maybe not so great, and hopefully we're going to come into this trip and approach things a little bit differently. So we're going to kind of dive right into some of that. So Danny, you've put some thought into what maybe your top 3 good and top 3 bad from the last trip.
Yeah, I'm rethinking it a little bit. My top 2 type 2 fun moments have got to be the first 2 days of our trip, where number 1 would be the second day, where we did like 4,500 feet of elevation with no real plan of where we were going other than to get to another campsite. That was after my number 2 type 2 favorite moment, which was the first day of our trip, where we did like 2,500 or 3,000 vertical feet, no trails, just straight up the side of a mountain, bushwhacking.
Google Earth navigation from home that we thought would be very simple, and you get on the ground and it was not.
I'm pretty sure I told Billy I was going to kill him if there wasn't water over the top of the last hill that we were going to.
I'm glad there was. Yeah, because we were sitting in a meadow down maybe a mile and a half from where we ended up camping, and we come to this meadow. We actually jumped an elk. It was a nice bull, actually, and we weren't hunting elk, but it was cool to be in there. It was the first elk we saw, and there was good water there. It was a nice flat camping spot, and Danny's like, we'd already been at it for 5-6 plus hours, and not to mention that we had way overpacked, did not have good quality packs, so we were probably hauling way more weight. I don't know. We don't really know. We were 80-ish.
We had to be 80 pounds.
And we both had external metal frame packs, and they were pretty uncomfortable, and we had bags hanging off of them all over the place. And so that was a serious lesson learned, but I'm like, we got to get up to our spot. We picked this out. And so we ended up pushing forward, and we got up there, but when we got there, looking around, looking from Google Earth, looked like there was a little stream or a spring up top, but it wasn't looking great. And when we finally came over that rise, I was threatening my life, and sure as shit there was water, so I was happy about that. But so Danny and I hunted there for like half a day of opening day.
Maybe.
And then we missed the boys. They were down in the hellhole, I guess I would call it, because it was that far below us. But so that's where your number 2 one came in, was the hell hike down the hill.
Probably my 2 favorites would be the morning we shot the deer, and I spent a day trout fishing with Donnie, and that was a blast.
Did you catch any?
Getting up in there, yeah, we caught a lot of trout.
Yeah.
Cooked them up on the fire.
Oh, we did. That's right.
Good stuff.
I remember that. Because that was on Sunday, and you guys they left the fish, and we ended up eating them that night.
Yeah.
Right? Him and Rob left. So you're confusing me, because were those your 2 goods? So you're confusing me here.
I got My first two were the type 2 fun moments where they sucked while we were there, but probably the most talked about after.
Right.
And then the other two are just like
They were good.
Good moments.
Those are good
of the trip.
experiences.
Yeah.
We didn't bring any fishing rods this time, did we?
I have a packable rod,
Oh.
a reel.
Really?
I've actually been debating in my head all along during this drive
Is
if
it
I'm
in
gonna.
your pack?
Yes, not in my pack. It's in my.
Why would you not?
It's in my tote.
You should bring it.
Do I want to take a rod and a reel? I don't know.
What, are you just going to bring a reel?
I can make a pole up there. I got line. I got my scale. I'm gonna weigh it before we.
Yeah, I'd
leave
weigh it.
tonight.
If it weighs 7 ounces, that's too much. I wouldn't bring it.
That's what's gonna happen.
Ounces make pounds.
Pounds
Yeah.
make pussies. So, all right. So those were yours, Danny. Brian, how about you? What were some of your highlights from the trip last time out?
Highlight number one was watching how big and heavy both of your packs were. That really brightened my day.
As you dropped us off the side of 70
Yeah.
and just watched us journey
See
into the
you
middle
later,
of nowhere.
guys. Good luck.
Yeah. Pizza.
I think number one would be the 45 minutes it took for you guys to adjust your poles and compare length and put your shoes on. And I turn around and I think you guys are going to hike up the hill. And next thing you know, one of you's got your fucking boot off. And you're readjusting your pack. Next, you know,
Well, when
your
you're
packs are
carrying
on.
85 pounds, you got to have
Packs
that
are on,
shit
your
too.
packs are off.
Yeah.
Every time I think you guys are good to go, I turn around, the packs are off, and you guys are getting out. Oh, gotta get the phone out. We need a selfie.
That was a
Guns
nice, that
out.
was a
Wait,
nice
is it
picture.
loaded? Nope, I don't know. Is yours loaded?
It didn't matter.
Hey, how long's your hiking stick?
What's yours at? Look at mine. What's mine say?
So that really, started out the trip with a little amusement. But, let's see. Seeing Donnie and Rob come up in and catch trout while I was like 800 feet above camp on the side of the mountain, and I was glassing them in the creek, catching trout, and I could see Donnie ripping trout out of there.
That's
And they're hooting. There was a moose. Neither one of them even saw it. There was a moose 100 yards away from the two of them, right on the edge of the woods while they were fishing.
Really? When they were hooting and hollering too.
Yeah, they were
Just right
catching
there.
trout and hooting and hollering down there. So that was pretty neat.
That was neat.
The game in that valley is crazy. Like if you look back and think about it, like we saw that one bear scale the tip top of that one mountain.
Yeah.
And like that was one of the most amazing things I ever saw. And
That
then
thing went straight up that rock face.
down in the bottom. There's a moose down there. There's elk.
Yeah,
There's
there was
mule
elk
deer.
above us on the
you
hill.
know, it's pretty wild.
That was a pretty sweet valley we started out in there.
Yeah, I mean, we got in there Friday at like noon and set up camp, went and did some looking. By the time we got back to camp at night, the elk were screaming on both sides of the canyon.
Yeah.
Right from camp there. They screamed all night. I don't know. I mean, you go on and on about all the good stuff, you know what I mean? The type 2 fun is, carrying 20 or 30 pounds more than I could probably handle in mule deer meat and hiking down the mountain and didn't think I was ever going to walk again.
Yeah.
But I did. We woke up the next morning and
Came back in.
everything was good.
Yeah.
I thought my knees were never going to recover from that trip, but they did. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Just in time to destroy him on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Obviously, shooting the deer is...
right, I would say
You know.
that the deer got to be on that list somewhere. It was,
Yeah, obviously that was...
I think for
That's
all
what
of
we
us,
went for, but-
the entire group, that was probably the number one highlight. But it's amazing because you look back at that trip and shooting of the deer took like 20 minutes,
Yeah.
if that,
It
and
was
then
stuff-
and then it was
yeah.
like, okay, clean up the deer, pack them out, and then it was that whole pack out was a riot.
Yeah.
We were about 7 miles in, maybe a little under 7. Well, probably where the deer died.
Where
was
the
7
deer were, it
miles.
was like 7.
So it's all day pack out. Took them back to the taxidermist so we could hang the meat at the cooler, and that was about an hour drive. And then we stayed overnight in a hotel, and went and got a good meal and had some beers and some drinks celebratory. And then the next morning we went back in, and I say probably one of my biggest regrets from that whole trip is that I spent the money on an elk tag, and I hunted literally, I guess it would have been Wednesday night we went back in. By the time we got in there, it was like 3 or 4 o'clock. I hunted for 2 or 3 hours that evening until dark, and then I went out the next morning, and Danny and I went up on top of that pass, and we're looking down, and there was elk all over the place, and I dropped down in towards the elk, and I was within 200 yards of them, but I'm out of communication with you guys over a pass. You know, it's at that point it was Thursday morning, so I'll be honest, I kind of sissed out on it because I didn't know what I was doing. I was in too deep. I was the only one elk hunting, and you know, I come back up to the pass to meet Danny, and we're radioing with you guys down in the bottom, and like, just come down here, let's chat, let's figure out what we're gonna do, and that ensued the big party where we ended up eating probably 15 pounds of backstrap and drank a liter, 2 liters of vodka, and the next morning I think I was green in my tent.
The color of my tent.
Yeah, trying to pack my stuff up so we could pack out and leave, and that then transpired. So that was
that brings me to the next most.
Okay.
That was
the next thing that annoys you?
No.
Okay.
That was my next most enjoyable moment.
Was
watching you
me
humped up on all fours, trying to think about packing your tent up.
Yeah. It was cold that morning. It had to be in the low 20s, upper teens. Everything was frozen solid, and that sun came up over the mountain. And I just remember taking my rain slick off the top of my tent, and everybody can see into my tent, and I'm just on all fours, just struggling as we're all trying to pack our stuff up. And you know, we had this great grand scheme. We were going to move complete areas and go hunt for a day, and you know, that was I think all of us were getting pretty tired.
That was the maxing out on the Type 2 fun.
Yeah, and it came to another type of there was not any fun. That's when we all kind of started getting at each other's, Brian and I especially, got getting at each other's throats, which was good because we've stayed friends and we're still hunting buddies after it. But we went up into that area where Robert thought he knew how far it was.
Half an hour.
Half hour max. I had a quarter tank of gas going up into this area, and you know, he's up in front, dust flying. You can't see where he's going, and
he doesn't
know where he's going. Doesn't know where we are, I guess is what I was getting at. And you know, it got me. Then you lose cell service, and then it just started kind of going downhill from there. And we parked my truck, and we all jumped in Robert's truck. So we had 5 guys in a truck going down a Jeep trail that you know, might be an overstatement. That was rough though. It was just huge rocks and just probably just rolling at like 3-4 miles an hour for that had to be an hour and a half, 2 hours. And
after your truck got
after we parked my truck, yeah. And then we watched the storm just roll over the mountain, and it is black as night.
Not only did we watch the storm roll in as we were pulling down to our last parking lot, but we also drove by 3 gorgeous campsites.
Yeah, right.
Where we could have just stopped, made camp. We all would have had a meal. We had cold beers. We would have been
great.
Could have put a tarp up, sat there, made a fire, had some beers. Would have been great.
Yeah.
But we rolled an extra half hour, 15 minutes down the road
to the bottom of this freaking,
and
I don't even know what you want to call it.
It lets loose.
Yeah. The storm hits. Brian's hangry.
No tents up. No food.
Brian doesn't do well.
I need chili mac.
Yeah. I need freaking chili mac. I'm cooking it right in here. He's sitting in the center seat in the back, whips out his jet boil, and he's trying to cook on the center console of 5 of us parked in this truck. And I say to him, what the F are you doing? You can't be doing that in the truck. And he gets pretty upset with me because he doesn't like my opinion. Typically doesn't like my opinion. But
generally, no. I wanted my chili mac.
99.8. So you get out of the truck and you're all pissed off, and then all hell breaks loose, and it's snowing. So we're out there throwing tents up in the snow. It's like real wet, nasty snow. That was a gross night, but
cool. Probably the coldest night of sleep of my life.
Yeah.
And I was in a 0-degree bag with a decent amount of clothes on.
My tent was collapsing when I was putting it up because the wet snow was sticking to the fly so fast
and pulling it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, then when we packed up the next morning, I forget about this because we like seriously just got the hell out of there. And we pack all of our shit up and our tents are soaking wet, covered in mud, dirt, and just literally threw everything in the back of Bob's truck and
Closed the tunnel.
And closed the tonneau cover and just drove home. Drove 24 hours home. We stopped for breakfast, and it was just, it's like you get home and it's like, oh, I found 6 of your tent stakes 3 weeks ago. It's like just over the last year and a half collecting all your stuff you lost. But so that's, I guess, just listen to the conversation. It's funny because the trip last time was, you spend so much time thinking about it and strategizing about what you're going to do, and then you get out there and really in the grand scheme of it, nothing that we planned went the way we expected. We really only hunted for 2 days. Opening day Saturday, you hunted pretty hard on Sunday.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. But not even all Tuesday, just the beginning, because
we shot the deer right away. So it's funny how these trips go, and I think that's like the anticipation. We're headed out there right now, and watching the weather forecast, and it's really hard to gauge what the weather's really going to do because
it's pretty iffy.
It looks iffy, and it has been iffy. And like watching and following some guys on social media that are out there and have been out there for archery, especially the last couple of weeks. It's been really, really like unpredictable. Storms blowing in and out, hail, and 2 nights ago they got their first snow up where we are going to be, and it's cool like following hashtags for the area, where people are hiking and stuff. They hashtagging the mountains that we're going to, and seeing the snow, it's like, oh Jesus, what are we getting ourselves into, and what's the weather really going to be like, because it can tell you what the nearest town is, but you get up there in those mountains, you don't know exactly what's going to happen. So we
11,000 feet, it's 11 or 12,000 feet, you don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
It's pretty funny listening to the conversation. Like, we were talking about how much game we saw last time, and we decided to change units.
I know. But that unit was hard to, hard to hunt. That area had animals, but everything was straight up on both sides.
Yeah, 5 guys hunt the whole thing out in
no time.
2 or 3 days too. Yeah. So it's kind of.
I think we're all pretty confident with seeing the same sort of game on this side where we're going, and the trail is much easier to navigate going in than what we went in last time. It's not as rocky, and when I was out on vacation, I was able to go up in there and run that trail not run it, walk it, but able to get up in there and see what things look like, how it was to hike it. It'll be a much easier hike than what we had the last time. Probably about the same distance, maybe a little bit shorter to where our first base camp will be compared to where we were when we got the mule deer last time, but it'll be a much easier hike. I think we should be able to make it. And the game plan is, we're making pretty good time. We should be there around 4 o'clock this evening, and we're going to try to make it right all the way up in there to our base camp. So we're hoping to hear from Bob and Tard there. They should be up there. I see your phone's blinking. I don't know if you got a message from them.
I really want to know what you were talking about the day we went up and over the pass and you had your out tag. Does that like eat at your mind all the time? Like, do you relive that one and say, man, I wish I want your thoughts on that.
I didn't finish that point. I guess my point was, it's like, I spent all that money. I was right there, and so many people go on. That was literally my first opportunity to hunt a full day for elk, and they were right there, and I didn't even press on them. I didn't even make an effort.
How close? Because I was watching you with my 10x42s from a mile away. Like, I couldn't see shit.
Right.
How close were you to that herd?
I was about 200 yards. From where they were, I ended up working my way over to a big rock pile, because when Dan and I got to the top of that pass in the morning, the sun was just coming up, and the whole top above the tree line, all the meadows, it kind of breaks out of trees and goes up to just straight meadows, and then you got real rocky, cliffy stuff along the top, and it was just elk everywhere, and there was bulls chasing around and bugling, and that's when I dropped right in, and Danny was watching, but I was trying to angle across and get down to the tree line and work my way across, thinking I would run into where they were coming down, but they beat me there by the time I got over to it. And I sat down on there was a great big boulder pile, and I sat down up on those rocks and just sat there and just listened to them bugle. And I mean, I wasn't really prepared. I had no calls. I didn't know what I was doing. You know, I'm not saying I know what I'm doing now, but I'm going
Just
into
run
this.
at him, man.
Run at him,
Just
yeah.
run at him.
Yeah, that's what everybody says to do. So, so that where those elk were that day, I gave that info to my buddy Rob that lives out there, and he went up in the following weekend that year. So it was just 7 days later he went up in there, and the elk were in exactly the same spot, doing exactly the same thing. And then last year, Bob and Tard were out there, and they went up there, and the elk were in exactly the same spot, doing exactly the same thing. And then when I was on vacation, same story. I was out there was no bulls around, but I counted 30 cows, and I know there was more inside the woods. I could see them moving, I just couldn't count them. So to me, it's like we're trying not to be overly optimistic, because who knows what's happened this first month of the season, but we could go in there and they could be doing exactly the same thing. And that's where Bob and Tard are right now. Hopefully they're up at the pass where we're headed to, and they're going to drop down in. Hopefully they're able to, get into them right off the bat tomorrow and put an elk on the ground on opening day. We're all hopeful for that, and it'd be, we're very anxious to see what happens if and when they do stir the pot over there. If the elk come up and over that pass to us, to where we're going to be on the other side. It's very, I guess we're very interested to see what happens over on our side of the pass, because we've got a good feeling for what could be happening on that side where they're going to be. But as far as our side, kind of unknown. Like, it looks really like great habitat, but I don't know what you guys think. But I mean,
I think it looks like awesome deer habitat, and we have some spots where it looks like the elk will be, but we don't really know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm thinking in my head, I'm glad we drew mule deer tags, because I think some of those areas are really heavy mule deer, high country areas.
Yeah, it looks to me like it could be more deer than elk.
Yeah.
But that's what we thought last time too.
Right.
And
we saw like some booner mule deer up in there
Booners.
2 years ago. Just booners. Big old booners.
Yeah, but those mule deer were in exactly the same area where the elk were, so, but they can move. We were just over that pass where we shot the bucks, and the next 2 days later we go over that pass, and I see 9 bucks with some just giants, and there was 2 or 3 that were significantly larger. They were huge, and they had to be 3/4 of a mile away, and I'm looking through my binoculars, and they're huge. So, hopefully they're in. Last year when Bob and Tard were out there, they saw those mule deer right in the same general area. So
I think that's a very stalkable area from our side of the pass too.
I think so too.
It looks like you can get down the one side, and there's like a what would you call it, like a rock slide basically, I think.
Yeah.
But it looks like it's a high rock slide that you could sneak up maybe.
Yeah, I guess it all depends on where they, how far down they're bedding, and but that's so up. We've got, I think what all 3 of us have been looking at on the map. There's an area that we're calling it. Last time we went out, we found this high country, or this high bowl, I guess I would say, that is difficult to get to. You're really not getting to it other than maybe 1 or 2 different spots. You're not really coming up from below it because it's just incredibly steep and rocky. So we're going to try to run out there tomorrow morning. We're trying to get all 3 of us up on the pass, and 2 of us to run all the way out to what we're calling the sanctuary, just to get eyes down in there, because looking on satellite imagery, you can just see the game trails just worn across the top of that bowl, and it looks like down in the bottom, it's been a wet year out there, so I would suspect there's water in that, and it looks like there could very well just, it could be wallows and stuff like that down there too, with some north-facing dark timber. So it just seems like that is a perfect area for them to go and be hanging out and hiding. It just seems like it could. So that's kind of what our game plan is tomorrow morning, is to get up there and get into that.
Yeah, we say it looks like really good muley country, but there's some really good timber up in there too.
Yeah.
In that whole area.
Yeah.
Where
there's a lot of timber.
There's gonna be elk up in there.
got some traffic here, Danny. Should be doing 80 or 85.
Cutting time off what you used to have us at there, Bill.
Wow, we're down 3 minutes. That's good. That's good.
Danny's a man.
So what else do we want to talk about? What's on your mind? Anything in particular, Brian, that I do that frustrates you?
It's hard to really pinpoint it.
Okay. Because this is something I wanted to dig into, because I think each one of us has got some faults that it's important that we put them on the table. You know, identify them.
I'm hoping, as a group, we can make coherent, educated decisions about what we do on this hunting trip.
Is that aimed at me?
That is aimed at everyone.
Okay.
I feel like I don't rush to many decisions.
You don't.
And Billy,
sometimes that hurts you.
Billy gets a little antsy in his pantsy sometimes.
Yeah.
Like the day we went straight up a mountain to a campsite that was probably awesome mule deer habitat.
We probably should have stayed there.
And yeah, we could have probably killed some animals up there, and we just decided to leave that camp the very next day.
We didn't even give it a chance. So I'm going to challenge you both with that, is don't let me just run around.
But have you ever seen yourself?
No. I don't walk around with a mirror. I'm looking for...
Have you ever had a conversation with yourself?
Yes. I do it almost daily.
Yeah.
And I tell myself how great I am. And
so
all your ideas are just the best. Yeah.
You're so smart.
I will say it works, though, because I would maybe end up... I don't always have that, like, drive or that, like, itch to be moving and going, and, like,
that's my thing,
that
too.
Helps me a lot, too. So it's like,
it's
a double-edged sword.
Okay.
Yep.
So I think we all need to commit that this is everyone's hunt, and I'm going to stand up here and say I'm not going to try to take over and say what we're going to do. But if you guys aren't sacking up and saying this is what we're going to do, then I'm going to take control. That's just naturally.
And then you can go do it.
Okay. Yeah.
I think, like I said a couple days ago, we should consider it as having one tag. Whatever our game plan is, we go out and we all try and fill our tags.
Let Brian fill our tag?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got lots of bullets.
How many are you keystering right now? I know
Would you like to know?
Yeah. I didn't hear anything fall in the toilet in there. You're pretty good Kegels you got there, buddy. Yeah. So that's that. My goal on this trip, because Brian, you can get a little cranky when you don't get your rest of your food, so I want to make sure you stay fed and you stay rested.
I like to be hydrated.
Some deer out in that
and
nourished.
And once in a while I just eat a Snickers.
That was very nice of Molly to give us that bag of Snickers.
She's a very thoughtful person. You know.
She hides it. She hides it well sometimes, but then she hits you right between the eyes with that kindness. Mm-hmm. And she's right, too, because we need those Snickers bad. Mm-hmm. How many ounces is that? Is that going to hurt your back weight?
It's pounds.
Yeah, it's pounds. Pounds of goodness, though.
I could use one of them right now.
Yeah. You guys are really talking me into this fishing pole idea now. Now I'm all jammed up.
I've got aluminum
foil.
Don't
let him talk you into something.
You do? I was just thinking. I was like, man, I don't have aluminum foil.
I brought aluminum foil.
All right,
I can't see why we wouldn't do this.
All right, if I'm putting something in the pack, something's coming out of the pack. That's how it's going to work.
Is it?
Yeah.
So what's coming out?
I got to think about this now.
Why don't you sit back a little bit? You can't hear you on the microphone.
All right. I got to think about it now. I don't know. I do have some extras. I just got to figure out what I have that's extra that I can take out.
So, both of you made significant changes, I would say significant changes to your packing for this trip, for your backpack, because you both... Brian, how much lighter are you than you were the last time?
I think about
the
7.
Oh, you lost 7 pounds?
But it's 3 days less food.
Yeah, we were packing for 10 days last time.
10 days last time, that's right.
And I don't know how I just went through everything and cut the stuff that
you didn't use
and figure I used.
Yeah.
And I kind of rethought everything I knew about what I took last time. I had a little awakening.
Yeah, you were pretty meticulous with your list. Like when did you make that list when you got home, or did you make it before you went last time?
The week we got home from Colorado 2 years ago, I made a 3-page list of everything I took with me, and if I need to throw it in the shitter, if it worked good, but I knew in my head that I took a ton of items that I either didn't need, or I took 2 things where one of them could have been used for both.
Right.
Like I had a tube of Vaseline. Like or no, not Vaseline.
Oh, no,
the petroleum oil
KY.
stuff.
Yeah, you call it what you want to call it. It was still lube.
Yeah. I like a little lube
For the record, there was nobody in that camp that wanted to enjoy that lube with you. I guarantee you.
But I bring this freaking tube, and I had chapstick, and then I had baby powder.
Did you baby powder at all last trip?
Yeah, I baby powder just about every morning.
Did you bring baby powder?
I have baby powder.
That's good. That's good for all of us.
So
for those of you that don't know Danny, he smells like shit.
I don't personally. I'm a clean person,
but
I'm very gassy.
His dirt star
I'm a gassy person.
Yeah. So yeah. He can get a little stinky Dan sometimes. So, but living out of your pack for 7-8 days.
Baby powder, some wipes, do you a ton of good. Because nobody wants to be chafing when you're up in there.
No, chafing's bad.
And just I took way too big of tubes of shampoo, I brought olive oil up in,
which we never used a lot of
this stuff that I brought that's just
Did you guys bring any soap at all?
Yeah, I have a little bottle of scentless deodorant, toothpaste, baby powder. I got wipes, roll of toilet paper. That's basically I got a towel too.
Yeah, I brought a towel.
You guys talked me into the towel. I'm not sure.
I'm going to use it.
I could cut the towel.
If it's as cold as it looks like, it might be. I don't know how much I'll be getting in that freaking water. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's kind of why I got the wipes. At the end of the day, those wipes do a really good job in the morning if you just want to do a little.
Are you a morning cleaner or an evening?
I shower every morning.
So regardless of what goes on during the day,
I like to wipe the scum off before I go into my nice clean sleep.
It bothers me to shower at night because I know I'm going to shower in the morning.
But so what if you're out weed whacking or something and you're just sweaty and nasty? You're just going right to bed?
I'll shower at night, or not even shower really. Because
I have concern. I have concern for your better half on how you're handling yourself.
She's pretty. Whoa! What is going on there?
Jeepers creepers!
Father, mother.
You didn't like something over here?
Jesus!
Just had a Nebraska state trooper just come right across. Look at it. Apparently he does it all the time.
Yeah, there are lines in the ditch all over the place here.
He just came through at 60.
That's a good way
right through the median.
It's a good way to cause an accident, sir. I'll guarantee you that Officer Uncle. What was his name?
Uncle
Ferguson?
Kurt.
Oh,
Uncle Kurt.
Uncle Kurt. I bet you he wouldn't do something like that.
He's behind that truck. No, he's flying up through here. What does he want?
Maybe he wants the heavy Chevy. Maybe Danny's going to get on the board with a pull over here.
I'm already cranking her back up to 85.
Yeah. He's a deputy sheriff.
There's a turnaround right there.
Yeah, I don't know what the issue is with the turnaround.
That was pretty sweet.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
Other than he was coming right at us.
I didn't see it until you guys were both grabbing onto stuff. Oh, the things you see going across this wonderful nation of ours.
I'm
gonna go back. I'm gonna be honest. I'm a little nervous about my tent and quilt setup.
I'm concerned for you too. To be honest. Are you using just the tent with your trekking poles?
My plan is to use a saw. So we're gonna take a saw up in there just for cutting wood or whatever.
A husky 420 Rancher.
Yeah.
I'm carrying that.
My dad does have a little 7-pound saw that would be cool on a trip like this.
Hell yeah.
Not needed.
Anywho, you're taking a hand saw.
I'm gonna try and just cut some limbs as we get up in there. He's doing it again.
What?
What is going on
Look at
here?
this fucking guy. This guy, is he drunk? Or does he just love being the fact that he is the law and he can do whatever he wants?
Jesus.
That's crazy.
Maybe they got somebody on the run.
Maybe.
So, anyways, I'm not the tent. I'm not really that worried about. It's a pretty good tent. The quilt has an opening at the bottom, so it's not going to be fully around me. And I got the insulated pad, and it's a 0 degree. I think it's going to be really warm.
But you have your down pants.
Yeah,
You
I have
your
down pants.
jacket.
I have a synthetic jacket.
I think you'll be fine.
So I guess I'm confused. It's a quilt, but it
So it's
doesn't
got
zip. Because
no,
you're saying it's
it
open
doesn't
at the bottom.
zip. So what's gonna happen is it's got a foot box, just like a mummy bag, at the end. Maybe two foot box. Then it's got buttons up the where the zipper would be. So the idea is it's gonna save a lot of weight by not having a zipper. And I don't know, there's just not a lot of add-ons. It's basically a blanket with a sewn foot box and a couple snaps.
So how much does it weigh?
Like 2.5 pounds. So it's got a strap. They call it like a pad strap. So there's a strap that I can put in 2 different places to hug the pad around hug the bag around my sleeping pad.
Yeah.
And then it's got a drawstring at the
You
top.
like it when your pad hugs your bag, do you?
It does have a drawstring right at the top where I should be able to fully enclose myself and actually have a hood over the top of my head if I
Like a mummy
really
bag.
need to. So I could turn it into a mummy bag. But my hope is that I can just use it as more of a blanket over the top of me when I'm sleeping. So I got long johns, I got down pants, I got enough upper clothes to make me warm, keep me warm. Just a little nervous if we get into wind chills in the teens or something. How that system's going to handle it. And I think part of that is the reason is I was freezing that last day we were up in
See, and I
2
wasn't.
years ago.
You were fine then. I was fine that night too. You were scared. I think it was more scared than freezing.
No, I was cold. I was really cold.
Weren't you guys
that morning.
spooning?
That's not important
Oh.
in this conversation.
Yeah.
Remember what my wife said?
Yeah, I did. I do, and I
There
understand.
does not have to be.
Okay. Well, freaking Molly. You know. So you didn't change anything with your sleep system, right, Brian? You have the same sleeping bag and the same. I didn't change it. Oh, I guess I did buy a new bag. I tried Outdoor Vitals. Danny bought his quilts from them. I bought mine. I went with a synthetic bag instead of a full down bag, like goose down. So I went with a 20 degree instead of taking my 0 degree, just to maybe cut a little bit of weight. And if we did get wet, to be able to jump into that synthetic bag, listening to a lot of stuff, talking about how you can get into it if you are wet, you can get into a synthetic, and it'll pull that moisture out of you. And
See, I didn't realize because I have a synthetic one,
You
and
do?
after I bought it, then I was told that, that wasn't what I should have done.
Really? By who?
Most people I talk to.
Really? Yeah,
You know,
listening to Aaron Snyder, he's huge on.
That's what I thought too. If it gets wet, it's
Right.
not going to be ruined. But apparently, the down may not even really get wet.
Well, it depends if it's treated down or.
Yeah, right.
But as soon as that down gets wet and it
Oh, it
goes
loses
flat, it
insulation
loses all of its insulation
I gotcha.
value. Yeah. So the synthetic, they say you get into that synthetic bag, you can literally get in there soaking wet and you'll cook the moisture right out of everything.
Okay.
So even if that bag is soaking wet, it's still gonna retain some insulation value.
Gotcha.
So I think I have no clue what the thing weighs. I cut a little bit of weight out of my sleeping bag, and it does pack down a little bit smaller. But I'm running the same tent, so I'm a little bit lighter than I was the last time. But I didn't think about the food angle. It's probably only because of the food. I mean, all my stuff is the same for the most part. Danny and I both did upgrade backpacks. He's running an XO. I have a Kafaru. Reckoning, and Brian's running. He's got a Kelty backpacking bag, and that bag's worked good for you. You've used it a bunch. It seems to carry well for you. Danny and I, like I said, we're both running those old, not old. We were running external metal frame. His was an Alps, mine was a Cabela's. They're both decent packs, but if you're trying to live out of them for 6-7+ days, it's just too much weight, and it doesn't carry. It's a kind of a universal bag, not fit for you. And so I think that was probably my biggest investment for this trip was that, and I think it makes a big difference. I'm still going to be around 70 pounds carrying in, but I'm taking a spotting scope. What do you got, a cop up here?
Yeah, another one. These guys are insane.
Well, he's at least putting the lights on.
Did he just go across the median?
Yeah.
Nope, turned him off though. That's a pickup truck.
What are they out here doing?
He's a sheriff.
Deputy Sheriff. Deputy Dan. So, yeah, I think I'm going to be around the same. Well, I'm going to be at 70 pounds. I've got my spotter. I have a good-sized spotter, and I think that thing, probably, I haven't weighed that, but between that and the tripod, I'm guessing that's close to 8 pounds, maybe a little bit more. So, really, I'm not that far off of these guys. I'm taking about double the food weight. I've got 2 pounds a day. They've got 1 pound a day. So we'll see who's right, who's wrong there. I don't think that there is a right or wrong. I think it's just I like to eat, so I'm going to eat. And hopefully I end up not needing that food because we shoot some deer or elk early on and we're eating fresh meat and not needing some of that stuff. So I know the last time we had Danny and I went all in on the butthole sandwiches. I guess that would be something that we learned from that trip that we probably won't do again.
That was a lot of fun too.
It was a riot. We had
first picking on you about them,
right,
and then
second. For a couple days they were good. So like I didn't pack any this time, neither did you. I would do it again, but I couldn't eat those I had planned on eating those for freaking 10 days. And so when Danny and I packed up to leave our first spot, we were shedding. We like didn't eat our butthole sandwich the first day, and we left it there for the squirrels. And then by the time we got to the middle of the week, we had like 3 days left of food. We were not eating all of our food, and we were having butthole sandwich races down the creek. And just to pass the time during the day, it was actually quite a riot. We all had a bet on the I guess it
was like a duck.
It was like a duck race.
Yeah.
So we had, I think there was 3 of us competing. We all had our own duck in the race. And
we had blueberry bagels. We had cinnamon raisin. I think going down. We had.
I think maybe like a whole wheat or an everything or something. Yeah. I want to say that the blueberry won. I think blueberry took it. And I don't know if you could really read into that. Maybe blueberry is just a really efficient fruit for racing. I don't know, but yeah. There's another cop.
What the heck is going on?
He's not going anywhere. He's actually in a turnaround. This is interesting. So that's about it. We've got 7.5 hours left till we get up into the mountains, and I think we're all pretty anxious, a little excited, a little nervous. Hopefully we can get up into the mountains, up to our camping spot. Bob and Tard, like we said, they got to the trailhead around 4 a.m. this morning, and they were going to try to be up there around daybreak to do some glassing up there on the pass. And we gave them a tarp to try to get up there. The camping spot where we're trying to land, that looks like a pretty heavily used camping spot. So we sent them with a tarp to have them set that up, kind of claim our spot, I guess, to try to make sure we've got that. So hopefully we'll hear from them today to get confirmation of it, so we know whether we have that spot for sure or not, or if there's somebody already in it, and we can get up to our.
I don't think we're going to hear from them.
You don't think so?
No.
I told them to reach out to us. Did you send them a message? You should send them a message and ask them.
Okay.
But, so that's the plan. We're going to try to get up in there tonight and get after it tomorrow morning is opening morning. And the weather looks really nice, with, like we were talking about, the forecast for the areas surrounding. Weather looks really good for today, tomorrow, Sunday. It looks like it might start getting a little bit iffy, with rain and potential storms in the beginning of the week, getting a little bit colder. So I would suspect with what they had Wednesday night up there that there's a decent chance that we'll be getting into a little bit of snow. But I guess I'm okay with that as long as it's not a foot of snow and it's not when we're trying to get in there. I think if we were established with a camp and we were all settled in, I don't think that would be that big of a deal if we got a little bit of snow. It actually might be a little bit of fun. So
I think if we're either, I mean, that's about the time we're going to either be thinking about making a move or hanging out where we're at too.
Right.
So at least we'll either be maybe we know we're going to be staying put for the week, or we know we're going to be making a move. So
yeah, and we've got our deer tags. So we've all got deer tags minus Tard. He's just got his out tag. But the deer tags are good for, I think we were talking last night, like 5 or 6 different units aside, so 4 or 5 other units from where we are currently planning on hunting. And so we might be able to get out, if let's say the weather does turn bad on us, we could get out of that mountain range and go somewhere else and try to have that. So the game plan is we're going to...
Yours looks a lot better than mine.
Yeah.
Is that the Gore Lake one?
Yeah, that's the lake's forecast, and it looks fantastic.
Doesn't show any rain.
Oh, interesting. But see, you got each side of that mountain range. So you might be getting precipitation on the leeward side. You know what I mean?
We'll be kind of on the side where we were, where we went up the first first day last time.
Right.
And that seemed to get totally different weather.
Well, do you remember what that day we were moving camp, that Monday, the last time we were out there, and it was thunder the whole day. It didn't storm on us at all when we were it was cracking and smacking up on top of the mountain.
And I got rained on every day.
Yeah. Did you?
At some point,
yeah.
yes.
Well, and that night we literally got back, got our tents up, and the skies opened up.
Right.
And that was, we didn't talk about this. We were talking about some of our favorite memories from that trip.
Yeah, it's hard to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah,
6.
you can't, because and then you sit down and you start talking about some of that stuff. Brian.
So actually, I missed the deer on Sunday.
Yeah.
A few times.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun, and then a lot of not of fun at the same time. But that's why we decided to move our camp up the drainage canyon. But like you said, by the time we set our camp up, it started raining. So we had passed the little bottle of whiskey around and started spotting, and right at dark in the pouring rain, them deer all showed up on the side hill, and we were all revved up.
That was, and like we said, that was probably one of the best memories of that trip, because before we turned the recorder on, we were talking about what were some of those things, and that was awesome. Like, we were sitting there and we were all kind of bumming a little bit. It was a long day of hiking. We hiked up to this area to check it out, hiked all the way back down to our camp, so that was 6 miles round trip, and then packed all of our stuff and then hustled all the way back up there. So it was, we did 8-9 miles of hiking that day and got everything set up, and then it starts raining on us. So we're all just sitting under the tarp, talking, and at this point we're 4 days into being back in there and still nothing on the ground yet. And lo and behold, we're watching that side hill it had to be 1,000 or 1,500 yards away, and we see those deer. We just see movement.
And a couple big ones.
Oh yeah, and then we pulled my spotter out, and first thing I saw was just. And we're thinking it's the one that Brian got. I mean, I think it was just a giant. He was so tall that there was no mistaking. So we're passing the spot and scope around. Everybody's jumping on it to look at him, and we're all jacked up. So that's the preparation for that next morning and the game plan working out. Like, that was absolutely a highlight. But it's those little things like hanging out, shooting
all
the shit,
together,
figuring it out.
Under a tarp.
Yep.
It's raining. It's thundering.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And I hope for a little bit of that on this trip, because we did not really do a whole lot of sitting still on the last trip. And I think as we kind of sit back and think about a lot of our best memories from the last trip were when we were all sitting together, talking, having a good time, having a little fire at camp, strategizing. That's some of the most fun stuff for sure. So
now that I'm sitting here thinking, if we can get up in there, we shouldn't even worry about our tents. We should start glassing those side hills when we get up in there.
If we get up in there before the sun's down, absolutely.
That's fine with me.
Yeah, I mean, we might. It all depends on how everybody's feeling.
Yeah.
I mean, if our legs are feeling good and we're getting up in there, but that's going to be like, I don't know what to expect. If you think about it, we all worked all day yesterday. No, I would. Yeah, we all. We were thinking about the mountains, but we got on the road. We said goodbye to our families. We got on the road, drove all the way, 24-hour round trip, So, and we're really not sleeping very well in this truck. And then we're going to hit the ground, throw weight on our backs, and hike
it's going to be great.
2,000 feet up into the mountains.
2,000?
So it's got to be about 2,000.
25 or 3. Yeah, we're
You think it's
starting
more
at
than
88
that?
and going to 11.4, I think.
You gonna stretch out before we go up?
Yeah, I have a whole routine I do, yeah.
Yeah.
And
you ever
first,
see a male lion stretch before he takes down a zebra?
what do they do? Nothing?
They just get up and go.
They just get up and go.
Reach down, grab a set of nuts.
So look me in the eye and tell me I'm a male lion.
I'm not.
You don't.
I'm saying-
So that's my point. I'm not a male lion. I'm a talker. I'm a typer. You know, I
Desk jockey.
don't work. Yeah, I'm a desk jockey. You know, so I go to the
I'm
gym.
more
but
of a
what is
desk
that?
jockey than you are, probably.
You are, but you know you'll be all right. That's just you've got some meat on your bones, so you can handle the beating. Brian and I are both kind of skinny, and you know this could beat the snot out of us.
Skinny wieners.
Yeah, skinny wieners. Yeah. So that's the plan. We are getting excited, getting jacked up. So I guess we'll probably wrap this thing up. We might record a few other things while we're driving out here if something comes up we want to chat about. But the plan is this will be posted once we get back, and then we'll probably just post. We're going to try to record some stuff each day. Not going to force it, but if we want to, we're going to record some updates on how the day's hunt went, and then after we get back, kind of put it all together and share it out, because I think that'll be fun I've heard other folks do that and really enjoyed following along with their hunts, and would like to do the same, because I think that it'd be beneficial to other people, and that might be something you like to listen to as well. So anything you guys have in closing, anything you want to say before we wrap this thing up?
Don't we have do we got close with something?
No
Closing
we already discussed
argument
that
or anything like that?
We're not
Shower beers, nothing.
we're okay. We could do shower beer, but there's no shower, and we're not.
It would be a metaphor to like shower. I don't know.
Like remember that time you called into 550 and compared
Shower
what the Sabres
beer,
were doing to a shower beer?
That's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
It would be like
this is deep. I'm ready for this.
cracking your beer before you're about to go out and have a night. It's just like you're getting warmed up, you're getting the body loose, getting your mind prepped for about what's going to happen to it, and you just go
Is this a normal
take a
evening
shower.
thing for you?
Yeah, we shower beer all the time. Nothing wrong with
I
a
do the
shower
same.
beer.
Do you?
I make a cocktail.
Still?
Yeah.
Even with kids? Okay, because we
Yeah.
were discussing things that change once you have kids.
No.
and
Shower
That
beers
doesn't
was one
change.
of them. Oh, it does change.
My wife still shower beers, but I don't. I have morals,
Oh,
ethics.
Big.
Yeah. Well,
So this
are
podcast is like a shower beer to our hunt.
You're right.
If you want.
See, I like that you brought this around, because I wasn't sure where the hell you were going with
too
that.
bad we should be having a beer right now.
I know that cop did tell us. I think he was telling us we could drink and drive.
Yes.
I think that's what.
I don't know exactly what he was saying, but he was. He
That's what
knew
I
we
got
were
from him.
driving to
That-
Colorado, and he basically told us we should be having beers.
Yeah, he did. What did he say? We're driving straight.
Colorado,
He
the
said something.
Sunshine State.
He said we're driving straight through, and I said something about hammer down.
Yeah.
What'd I say? I can't remember. It was funny though. I wish we were recording
Well,
that.
you were
Oh,
speeding,
you-
and
you-
then when we said goodbye, he said, all right, good luck. He said, yep, we're hammering down. Yep, a little slow, right?
Yeah, a little slower. I'm not going to hammer down that hard. Good times. Well, all right. So Danny, I guess you just solidified what your thing's going to be on this podcast. It's going to be
beers?
shower beers, and then you're going to explain to us about how what we're doing relates to a shower beer. Yeah.
I can
Do you?
that.
All right. So when you have a shower beer,
Yeah.
are you farting right now?
No.
That you just hovered.
Hovered. What do you mean hovered?
You just lifted your cheeks off the.
Actually, it was like a thigh.
Oh,
My fart.
fuck! God, you stinky fuck! It's terrible.
You're gonna have to edit that one out.
Hey, get fucking edited. Are you kidding me? You stinky bastard! Oh my god. That's your concluding statement. Is freaking gassers. Jesus. What about you, Brian? You got any?
I have no words of wisdom.
You have nothing.
Shoot him up.
Trigger. He's gonna get after it.
I have no limits,
No limits.
no standards,
As long as it meets.
no expectations.
He's slow. He is slow playing this whole thing.
I think he's slow playing
and he is gonna go in there and make me and Billy pack out 400 pounds
Yeah.
of meat this weekend.
So I've
I
been
hope
talking about shooting a cow for about a year now, and my bet is Brian shoots a cow before I shoot a cow. Did you hear that laugh? That's a.
I don't know. I think he's in it for the horns and the meat.
I don't know.
But some horns.
I've seen.
I don't think I know, and I don't think you guys.
You won't know
until
until that hammer's cocked. You won't know.
If we know
Once
we
it
got
comes
3
back.
good days of weather coming up, I'm gonna be pretty mad if you ruin
One of
the
those
hunt
days.
with a cow.
How could you? That's a bold freaking statement. To ruin a hunt with a cow. So listen. This is the deal. If I shoot a cow,
okay, maybe not.
if I shoot a cow,
you know what I mean.
you don't get a fucking ounce of it. That's the deal.
You get to
It's
look
what
at the
happened
camera
to
lens,
what
that's it.
happened to our tags? They're our tags.
Did you pay for my tag?
No, but I am gonna help you get your animal out to the freezer.
That's what a friend should do.
Yeah.
And when we get home, and for a year and a half, when you're eating beautiful elk meat, are you gonna say that son of a
Bitch ruined our hunt.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna swear.
Yeah,
This
sorry.
is trying to be a clean
I
podcast.
swore a couple
think I
times
ruined that.
already.
Yeah, Brian ruined that when he opened his mouth.
What'd you think was gonna happen?
So,
All right,
I didn't.
all right.
I had high hopes, Brian, but
Let's-
you know.
We'll work it back around. I want to be a little methodical about what we do here.
He's redacting.
If you shoot a cow elk right by the trail, and we can hang it up and
Make a
leave it
big
for
fire.
a couple days,
Make a big
and
fire.
eat the shit out of the back straps, then I'm not gonna complain that much. But if you shoot one down in a hellhole, then
gonna shoot you.
And I might. I don't
It'd be
know.
like a
I don't
social
You'll have a
know.
lot of alone time.
You know I'm not
to
gonna.
get that fucker out of
It
there.
depends. There's so many variables. Like, are there bulls around?
Right.
Or is there just
Think it through.
I'll think it through.
yeah?
I'm
We'll
sure you
all think it through.
I'll think it through.
We'll make a game plan, and then we'll go do it. We'll go execute the game plan,
throw it
and
out.
we'll all shoot an elk at the same time within 15 minutes of each other,
There you
and
go.
we'll just spend the next 2 days on the phone trying to see if we can get pack horses
Yeah.
up in there.
Right. Fork and a knife, Danny. Fork and a knife.
Some matches.
All right, let's wrap this thing up because we just keep on talking. So
We're past the shower beer.
we're past the shower beer. That's the point. If you have made it this far in the podcast, crack a beer, get in the shower.
God bless your
God
heart.
bless you. Loosen that body up. Fade 'em.